Ujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. Yuddha Kāṇḍam of Srimad Ramayana. It's quite a fascinating kanda, not just because Valmiki vividly captures the war of all wars between Rama and Ravana. No doubt it is fascinating because of the intricate details on the war between the Rakshasas and the Vanaras. It is fascinating not because of the outer war, it is fascinating because of the inner war that takes place in all the central characters. In many ways, throughout the Ramayana, we see a war going on. The entire Ramayana, we see multiple wars going on. And we see how repeatedly Rama demonstrates that to win the outer war, one must first win the inner war. To conquer one's outer enemies, it is a prerequisite to vanquish one's inner enemies. That is the reason why Ramayana is so very inspiring, and Rama continues to inspire us even till date. Because the way he demonstrates how to conquer our inner enemies is so very relevant to us in today's modern world. While the outer war may not be that very relevant to us, the inner war remains eternally relevant. Of course, the outer war also shows us many fascinating aspects of how to face adversities and difficult situations. But here we see right at the beginning of Yuddha Kāṇḍam how the preparation starts even before the travel towards the shore begins. We relish the pep talk given by Sugriva. Sugriva takes the opportunity to comfort Rama, to give that comfort to Rama that the entire Vanara army is with him and would do anything that is required to sacrifice personal interest for a higher cause. Sugriva himself is inspired by Rama. He has seen how Rama has endured pain only because he had a purpose. The only way to endure pain in life is if there is a higher purpose. If a higher purpose is missing in life, then inevitably pain translates into suffering. It is impossible to avoid suffering because whether we like it or not, life by design is filled with pains. If there is no higher purpose, then one cannot endure that pain. One has to necessarily suffer. It is the higher purpose that makes the pains in life endurable and meaningful as well. The same pain which can become a suffering can become meaningful if there is a purpose attached to that. Sugriva, inspired by Rama, understands this. The Vanaras are going to face pain, face adversity. But how can that pain become meaningful to them? Only when a higher purpose is attached to that. And for the Vanaras, what is the higher purpose? Rama Kainkarya. It is not going to be an ordinary war. Everyone's life is at stake. There is enormous amount of sacrifice that is called for. And therefore, Sugriva takes the opportunity now to not only comfort Rama, he also addresses the entire Vanara army who are listening to this conversation and prepares them for what is going to come next. And in that process, inspired by Rama, Sugriva inspires everyone around. Sugrivasya vachashutva hetumat paramarthavit pratijagraha kakutsto hanumantam ad abravit. Hetumat parama arthavit. So Rama understands that Sugriva's words are well founded. He knows that he is not only trying to comfort him, but he is also trying to inspire. Paramartha, with highly meaningful words spoken by Sugriva. Listening to Sugriva's well-founded, inspiring words, Rama concurs with him. And then he looks at Hanuman and speaks further. He now addresses Hanuman. Tapasa setu bandhena sagara uchchoshanena va sarvata susumarto asmi sagarasya asya langhena. He says, hey Hanuman, it was not because of my self-doubt that I was wondering whether the ocean can be tamed or not. Rama had all the Vanaras in mind when he expressed his doubt on taming the ocean. By austerity or even by drying up the ocean, we can cross the ocean. I have no doubts whatsoever. But there is a difference between confidence and overconfidence. There is a big difference. And what is the difference between confidence and overconfidence? Overconfidence is lack of vigilance. So one needs to be always vigilant. And Rama therefore says, hey, Hanuman, there has to be enough preparation for this thousands and thousands of army of Vanaras together with us to cross over. We need to be well prepared. And therefore, vigilance has to be at the very, very foundation of the way we are going to engage in this war. Kati durgani durgaya lankaya tat pruhitani me jnatum ichchami tat sarvam darshanat iva vanara. So Rama, the strategist, the leader, the Kshatriya who is going to lead this army in the war, starts the preparation. He looks at Hanuman and says, Hanuman has visited Lanka and has done the needful in terms of capturing all the minute details. So now Rama is asking Hanuman, hey Hanuman, Kati Durgani, I want to know the number of forts, number of citadels in Lanka. Durgaya, Lankaya, that Ruhitani me, Nyatumichami tat sarvam, Darshanad iva vanara. You have seen the entire setup of the army of the Rakshasas in Lanka. You have seen the city of Lanka. I would like to know the strength and size of the Lankan army, the number of gateways, the number of forts, the number of gateways, those which are difficult to enter, those that are easy to enter, the way in which the various entrances are protected. I would like to know how the Rakshasas protect their forts. And I would like to know where all in Lanka the Rakshasas are concentrated. How do we attack Lanka here? Hey, Hanuman, I would like to know all these details and I want you to share those details with me. Shuddva Ramasya Vachanam Hanuman Marutatmajaha Vakyam Vakya Vidam Sreshtaha Ramam Punaratha Bravit. So immediately upon Rama's request, Hanuman prepares to respond. So Rama also has asked Hanuman for the details because he knows that it is only Hanuman who is capable of the right kind of expression that is required, especially as they prepare for the war. Vakyam Vakya Vidam Sreshtaha. Now Hanuman is one who is master of the art of expression. Nan Rigveda Vinitasya, Na Yajurveda Dharinaha, Na Samaveda Vidushaha, Chakya Evam Vipashitum. Rama earlier tells Lakshmana praising Hanuman. Hanuman is Vakya Vidam Sreshtaha. Here he says, why he is Vakya Vidam Sreshtaha? Hanuman earlier in Kishkinda Kanda talks about, Rama talks about Hanuman to Lakshmana. Hey Lakshmana, you must know Hanuman. He says, Nan Rigveda Vinitasya, Na Yajurveda Dharinaha, Na Samaveda Vidushaha, Chakya Evam Vibhashitum. A person who is unaware of Rigveda, a person who has not studied Yajurveda, a person who has not been trained in Samaveda cannot engage in this kind of a conversation. Looking at Hanuman, so Rigveda has too many phonetically varying, variations, phonetic variations. One needs to get trained for a long time. Mastery of Rigveda is not easy. If one masters Rigveda, one becomes Vinita. Rigveda, non-Rigveda, Vinitasya. Vinita here is well trained. Rama is using some chosen adjectives here. Well trained, Vinitasya, Dharinaha, Dharana Shakti, memory, concentration. One who is trained in Yajurveda. In Yajurveda, there are several anuvakas which keep repeating at several places. One can get mistaken. Similar lines keep repeating at multiple places. So one will lose the flow if one is not good when it comes to memory and concentration. Samaveda, one needs to be very knowledgeable how to use the pitch, how to use one's voice, how to use one's mind, how to use one's prana. All need to work in coordination. Training, memory, concentration, knowledge, all of this come in play, and this Hanuman is the very embodiment of well-trained person. He is the one who is knowledgeable, and therefore he is the one who is Sreshta when it comes to expression in communication. So here once again Rama repeats the same. Vakyam Vakya Vidam Sreshta Ramam Punarabravit. I mean, another, when we look at Hanuman is the one who is master of art of expression. Now, what is that? Obviously, he is well trained in the Vedas. He is well trained in the Shastras, and therefore he has the right knowledge and right skills to communicate well. But when we look at what is that magic potion, what is that magic sauce, if we were to say, that enables Hanuman master the art of expression, it is constant remembrance of Bhagavan. Constant remembrance of Bhagavan helps in three ways, and we learn this through Hanuman. Constant remembrance of Hanuman gives us clarity, gives us purity and simplicity. Three magic words which are the outcomes of constant remembrance. When there is constant remembrance of Bhagavan, there is clarity in the mind. The mind is clouded with too many desires, too many priorities, too many goals. When one constantly contemplates on Bhagavan, when constantly one connects with Rama, one learns, understands what is a real priority. What is priority in life? What is the purpose? And then there is clarity of thought. When one constantly remembers Rama, the unhealthy desires get weakened over a period of time, slowly and steadily. The desire for Rama strengthens and all the unhealthy desires get weakened. When the unhealthy desires get weakened, the mind becomes pure and purer. And there is purity. And when there is clarity and when there is purity, there is simplicity. Simplicity is nothing but alignment between what we know is good and what we feel is good. Many times we do things because it feels good. We overeat, we oversleep, we over binge, we over entertain because it feels good. Simplicity is cutting out unnecessary things in life, making life very simple. Take out the complexity. take out the complexity, bring alignment between what we know is good and what feels good. Because there is clarity, there is purity, and there is simplicity. And when all these three are there, then one becomes Vakya Vidam Sreshtaha, like Hanuman. That is the reason why Hanuman is always able to discriminate between right and wrong, always able to speak what is right, always able to convey what is right, and always stay on the path of righteousness. That Hanuman now is being given the task of briefing Rama and Sugriva on how to prepare a brief on the strengths of Lanka. Shruyatam sarvam akhyasye durga karma vidhanataha Guptapuri yatha Lanka rakshita cha yatha balai Durga karma vidhanataha. Hanuman tells Rama, let me explain to you how Lanka is structured, the various methods of fortifications that has happened in Lanka. There are several forts in Lanka. Lanka is not a simple city. They have fortified Lanka in multiple ways, and we need to understand before we attack Lanka, we need to be well prepared. Rakshasascha yata snigdha ravanasya cha tejasa param samruddhim lankaya sagarasya cha bhimatam vibhagam cha balaoghasya nirdesham vahanasya cha eva mukva kapisreshtaha katayamasa tattvavit. Hanuman is now explaining to Rama, Rama, let me explain to you. Ravanasya cha tejasa. This is something we have to learn from Hanuman and Rama as well all the time. There is no disrespect towards Ravana just because he is wicked. Recognizing one's strengths is very, very important. Ravana's power has to be recognized, cannot be discarded. And Hanuman, even before we saw, always recognize Ravana's power. It cannot be taken for granted. He's not an ordinary person. He's highly powerful, cannot be easily, his power cannot be brushed aside. So let me explain to you here, Rama. Ravanasya tejasam, Rakshasascha yata snigdha. The affection of Rakshasas to Ravana. How, in a way, Hanuman is saying, how the Rakshasas are blinded. When there is attachment, one is blinded. And unfortunately, one is not aware that one is blinded. This is the problem. One is not only blinded, one is not aware of one's blindness. This is exactly the state of all the Rakshasas. They are so very attached. They love Ravana. They are so very attached. He uses the word snigdha. Rakshasascha yata snigdha. The affection Rakshasas have to Ravana. Their affection blinds them. So Ravana gets away doing anything and everything. And all the Rakshasas are ready to give their lives for Ravana in spite of Ravana committing all kinds of crimes. It is because of that attachment that they have which blinds them. Ravanasya cha yata snigdha param samruddhim lankaya. Prosperity of Lanka. We need to know Lanka is so very prosperous. Sagarasya cha bhimatam. The terrifying ocean. Before we tame the ocean, we must understand when we cross over how terrifying it is. And vibhagam cha balam oghasya, the divisions of various army, how Ravana structured his entire army. Hanuman says, I will explain to you all the details here, Rama. Prahishta mudita lankam mattadvipa samakula mahati rata sampurna rakshogana samakula. Mahati rata sampurna. The power of any kingdom is determined by the army and the number of chariots in the army. Now, having chariots also is a reflection of the advancement of the army. So, Mahati Rata Sampurna Rakshogana Samakula. Now, the army is very, very powerful here, Rama, but he also makes one interesting point here. Prahishta Mudita Lanka Matta Dvipa Samakula. Now, earlier we have seen when Hanuman visited Lanka, he saw, to Hanuman, the people of Lanka were in a sorry state. For the people of Lanka, they were having a good time. Hanuman sees the Rakshasas in revelry. rivalry, soaked in worldliness, intoxicated, enjoying pleasures of the world, and Hanuman feels sorry for them. This also what happens when one's intelligence is soaked in indulgence. It becomes blunt. Intelligence is like a knife. The purpose of intelligence is cut through the surface of reality. The purpose of intelligence is to cut through the surface of reality. Surface of reality is materialism. If the intellect does not work properly, one cannot cut through the surface and go beyond the surface of materialism. Now, if the intelligence is soaked in indulgence, then it becomes it becomes blunt, and it cannot cut through. One remains soaked in worldliness. Now, one may say, those who are materially advanced, their intellect also seems to function because they are materially advancing. Yes, we can say the knife the intellect instead of functioning like a knife may end up functioning like a hammer. It may not serve the purpose for which it is being given, but it will serve some purpose. Material advancement may be there, but there will be no spiritual advancement. The Rakshasas soaked Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Apakrita Chetasam. Krishna says in the Gita, Bhogaishwarya, when one is indulging all the time in Bhoga and Kama, there is no way that one can use their intellect. The intelligence becomes blunt. That is the state of the Rakshasas, intoxicated. In a way, Ravana used his power to completely make them his slaves. By throwing wealth at them, he has ensured that they remained intoxicated. How can anybody who is intoxicated can take right decisions? They will just follow whoever is giving them, whoever is leading them on the path of intoxication. Prahishta mudita lankam mattadvipa samakula mahatirata sampurna prakshoguna samakula. So we need to be aware, this is the weakness of the army as well. Hanuman is talking about their army is strong, but at the same time, they also are prone to get intoxicated, prone to just keep celebrating and enjoy material pleasures. Rudabhadda kavatani mahaparighavanti cha chatvari vipulanyasya dwarani sumahanti. Hanuman is giving a very graphic visual representation of Lanka. Rudabhadda kavatani. You can say Rajamouli is inspired by Ramayana. What we see in Bahubali, in fact, I'm not exaggerating, when we look at the graphic details that Valmiki provides of the war, of the details of Lanka, this is the inspiration. Here, if you see, Hanuman is talking about, giving a visual representation of how Lanka is. Ridabhadda Kavatan, the doors are fitted with powerful machine. Lanka is endowed with lofty, wide courtyards, massive entrances, forts which are massive, and the entrances are massive, he says. Chatwa, and the courtyards are very wide. Vipulanyasa dwarani sumahatani. The doors are fixed with metal fixtures, large iron bars. And he also says the doors are fitted with powerful machines which are used to retaliate by discharging arrows and stones on the enemy who approach these massive doors. So which means, forget about approaching those massive doors to break them open. The approach itself is impossible because heavy machinery are fitted to the doors, and as and when the Rakshasas feel, they can automate the discharge of arrows, and boulders can be thrown at the marching enemy, preventing them even nearing the entrance to the forts. Sauvarnaha mahamstasyaha prakaro dushpradarshanaha manividrum vaidhurya mukta vicharitantaraha. This is a very interesting detail Hanuman is giving. Is he saying Sauvarnacha mahamsatasyaha prakaro dushpradarshanaha? The boundary wall of Lanka, it's massive boundary wall, and it is made of gold. It's a lofty golden boundary wall. Manividrum vaidurya mukta vicharitantaraha, and it is fitted with gems of all kinds, precious stones. This is ostentation stretched to ridiculous levels. obnoxiously ostentatious. This also shows the state of mind of Ravana and all the Rakshasas. Yes, one needs to build a massive boundary wall to protect the kingdom. But what is the state of mind of someone who would not only build a boundary wall, but build it using gold and fit it with all precious diamonds? This is obnoxious. This ostentation is uncalled for, stretching it to ridiculous levels. This is not knowing the difference between being well off and being well. There is the difference. One loses the balance and not knows the difference between being well off. Just being, if the goal of life is being well off, one is just accumulating material possessions. One is just being so materialistic that one becomes so very focused on being well off. And in the process, being well off becomes an obstacle to one's wellness, true wellness. One becomes mentally sick in the process of trying to being well off. This is exactly, we see what has happened to Ravana. In the process of being well off, he wants to have control over all the lokas. He wants to amass wealth. And he is building forts and walls made up of gold and precious stones. There is wealth outside, but where is the wealth inside? There is poverty inside, wealth outside. This is the sorry state of Ravana and sorry state of Lanka. Sarvatacha mahabhima shitatoya mahashutaha agada grahavatsacha parikha meena sevita. Also, there is not only a huge, massive boundary wall covering Lanka. Around the boundary walls, also there is a massive moat. This is deep digs where it's filled with water. And this is not ordinary water, cold water filled with crocodiles, so that nobody can even cross over in boats to reach. So it's protected all around with moats. Swayam prakriti sampanno yuyutsu rama ravanaha uttitacha apramattacha malanam anudarshana. Yuyutsu, Ravana is yuyutsu, always wanting fight, always wanting, very hostile, never not ready to listen to any reason. Prakriti, his natural tendency is to be hostile, Ravana, but at the same time is very alert. Uttitacha apramattacha malanam anudarshayan. Rama, one thing about Ravana, he personally monitors, he personally engages, he is always alert, because he knows that many of his army are prone to intoxication and revelry. So he needs to be also involved so that they do not lose the guard, they don't let down the guard. Lanka puri nidalamba deva durga bhayavaha nadeyam parvatam vanyam kritimam cha chaturvidham. Lanka is nidalamba, impregnable, not easily conquerable. It is so very massive. The city, he says, Rama, first of all, Lanka is built on top of a mountain. And not only that, it is protected by various defenses, fourfold defenses, he says. Defense by water. There is cold water all around. One cannot easily cross because it's infested with crocodiles. Then there is mountain. Climbing the mountain is not very easy. If one tries to climb the mountains, the Rakshasa army can shoot down the marching army with arrows and stones. So it's not easy to climb up the mountain. Then there is forest area all around, which cannot be easily navigated. And on top of it, there are multiple forts which are guarded by various Rakshasas around the main fort. And therefore, Rama, we need to be extremely careful and plan with all care. How do we break through into this fortified Lanka? Niral, it is impregnable and it is built on fourfold defenses. Shailagre Rachita Durgasa Pudeva Puropama Vaji Varana Sampurna Lanka Param Durchaya. The army has enormous resources. It's a massive army of Rakshasas. They have massive number of horses, massive number of elephants, in addition to massive number of chariots. So therefore, very, very difficult to conquer. And Hirama, let me tell you how they are organized. Ayutam Rakshasamatra Paschim Dwaram Ashritam. Niyutam Rakshasamatra Dakshina Dwaram Ashritam. Prayutam Rakshasamatra Puradwaram Samashritam. Yadbuddham Rakshasamatra Uttaradwaram Ashritam. Look at the details that Hanuman, we thought, went in search of Mother Sita. But in the process, the amount of information he has gathered, the minute details that now he is sharing, which is going to be of great help for the Vanara army. He's saying, Paschima-dwaram, Dakshina-dwaram, Purva-dwaram, Uttara-dwaram. Every direction, there are different kinds of Rakshasas. Rakshasas of different kind, different skills, different capabilities, different kinds of weapons. They are guarding each of the gates that lead into Lanka. Shatam Shatam Sahasranam Madhyamam Gulmamashritam. Even if one breaches one of these direction gates, one of the directions and enters, there are Shatam Shatam Sahasrana, hundreds and thousands of Rakshasas right at the middle, guarding the center of Lanka. But after seeing all this, Hanuman looks around and once again looks at Rama and makes one declaration. Angado Divido Mahindo Jambavan Anaso Nalaha Nilaha Senapatihi Chaivabala Cheshena Kimtava Plavamana Higatvatam Ravanasya Mahapurim Saparbatavana Bhitva Sakhatam Chasapratoranam Saprakaram Sabhavaram Anayishyanti Raghava. He says, all this is fine here, Raghava, but when we have Angada, Vivida, Mainda, Jambava, Panasa, Nala, Nila, he's not including himself in that list. Humility that is beyond our imagination. He is the one who has crossed over the ocean and has done all the magical adventures. He is the one, but he is now talking about, he's not including in the list, and he doesn't say, and myself. No. Angada, Vida, Mahinda, Rambavan, Panasa, Nala, Niya. When all of them are there, why do we even need this army? Because he knows Rama is concerned. Hanuman knows Rama is concerned about the loss of life. Later on, we will see how concerned Rama will be for each and every life of a Vanara. He knows the responsibility on his shoulders. Rama, leading these Vanaras into Lanka, knows that every loss of life is not acceptable. Even though the cause of rescuing Sita, the cause of establishing Dharma, the higher cause, Rama, the compassion that he has, cannot bear the thought of even one Vanara losing his life. Hanuman knows that. So Hanuman is saying, after giving a portrayal of how unconquerable Lanka is, he looks around and says, Rama, but why do we need all this army when we have all the Maharathis, the Athirathis, all the great warriors on our side? We can Saparvata Vanabhitva Sakhatam Cha Sapratoranam Saprakaram Cha Sabhavanam. It can be the whatever fortifications it could be, the buildings, the forts, the kind of massive gates, the moats, everything. Our warriors can easily, then cross over all these hurdles. Anayishyanti Raghava, and can easily bring back Sita. So there is no reason for us to worry at all here, Rama. Evam Agnyapaya Kshipram Balanam Sarvasamgraham Muhurtena Yuktena Prasthana Mabhirochaya. Rama, all that you need to do is set the Muhurta. All that I ask you is just set the Muhurta, the rest we will take care of. You don't need to exert yourself. You don't need to be worried about. You set the Muhurta and just tell us, command us, show us the way. All the warriors will do your bidding. Shrutva Hanumato Vakyam Yatavad Anupurvashaha Tato Abraveen Mahateja Rama Satya Parakramaha. Rama, the Satya Parakrama, he immediately responds to Hanuman. Rama is also inspired with what Hanuman says. Yam Nivedayase Lankam Purim Bhimasya Rakshasaha Kshipram Yenam Vadishyami Satyam Yetad Bravime. Satyam Yetad. Rama is once again taking a vow here. Let me pledge that we are going to conquer Lanka. We are going to vanquish Ravana and establish Dharma. Kshipram, and this is going to happen immediately. You're not going to lose any more time. Asmin muhurte Sugriva, he looks at Sugriva. Asmin muhurte Sugriva, Prayanam Abhirochaye, Yukto muhurto Vijayaha, Prapto Madhyam Divakara. The sun has reached the mid position. Rama looks at the sun, reached the mid position. This is the opportune time. I can see the sun in the mid position, and I know the time for victory has come, and therefore I desire to journey at the opportune time. Rama is now setting the muhurta to journey further towards the shore. Uttara Falgunihi Adya Shvastu Hastena Yokshate Abhiprayam Sugriva Sarva Anika Samavrataha. Uttara Falgunihi Adya. Today is Uttara Falguni. The star is on the ascent, the day of Uttara Falguni. Tomorrow is Hasta Nakshatra. Hasta Nakshatra will be in conjunction with the moon. Shvastu, for my Nakshatra, Punarvasu, today the Uttara Falguni ascent is the right opportune moment. Hey Sugriva, you may assemble all the army, and I desire to start the journey. Rama definitely, which shows that he has Shraddha in Jyotisha. We always have this question: what is the role of Jyotisha? Astrology. Modern people should not take recourse to astrology. It's very important to know that Jyotisha is one of the 6 angas, is one of the 6 Vedangas. Jyotisha is a Shastra, and Jyotisha Shastra is very much important when we look at the body of knowledge. It is the Vedanga which helps us to understand and practice the Veda. The beauty of Jyotisha is a combination of astronomy and astrology. Astronomy and astrology. Not only the study of all the celestial objects, also predict and forecast the impact of the movement of celestial objects on humankind. Because as the Shastras declare, every entity in this universe is interconnected, and there is an influence of one entity on the other. The planetary positions have a great influence. In fact, as per the Jyotisha Shastra, the one's prarabdha karma is reflected in one's horoscope. The horoscope is nothing but a reflection of the prarabdha karma. Now, having said that, we need to also take this in the right spirit. Prediction does not mean conclusion. It's like a weather forecast. If the weather forecast is that tomorrow there is going to be torrential rain, it does not mean I will get wet. I have the choice of using an umbrella or not even stepping out. Just like weather forecast, Jyotisha can tell us what can happen to us, but it will not tell us how should I respond to it. There's a difference here. What can happen to us will happen. That is prarabdha. That is not within our control. It is because of the forces which are all around us, beyond our control. What happens to us is beyond our control. How I respond. Now, there is a subtle difference to this analogy of weather forecast of rains and whether I get wet or take an umbrella or do whatever. Now, when it comes to prarabdha, the subtle difference is, apart from forecasting external situation, the prarabdha can also forecast our internal reaction as well. Because it is the prarabdha, it is our karma vasanas that will also determine our desires and the way we react. But desires are only propositions, not impositions. Now, taking the same analogy, tomorrow the forecast is for rain. Now, I may have an urge to run and get wet. That could be my desire. It is only a proposition, not an imposition. I can choose not to let my wild desire of running into the rain and getting wet. I can choose otherwise. So, what is important for us to understand is Jyotisha Shastra, because throughout Ramayana, at many places, we see Jyotisha Shastra coming into play. In fact, it is because of Jyotisha Shastra that we are able to actually date the events of Ramayana even till today. because there are several segments in the Ramayana which talk about various planetary alignments. And based on that, today, great astronomers who have the knowledge of Shastra are able to time when Ramayana happened, when the various events in Ramayana happened, to counter the propaganda of the so-called Indologists who call Ramayana a myth, proving Ramayana as a historical event. Once again, Jyotisha Shastra helps. Now here we see Rama talking about setting the right kind of muhurta. And he says, Nimittani cha dhanyani yani pradur bhavanti me nihatya ravanam sitam anayishyami janakim. Nimittani cha dhanyani. And he also says, Uparishtadrihi nayanam spuramanam idam mama vijayam samanupraptam shamsati iva manoratham. My upper lids are twitching, thus indicating victory. Once again, Rama is also superstitious, like all of us. But Nimitta Shastra is also part of Jyotisha Shastra, Shakuna Shastra, Nimitta Shastra. They are all Shastras. They are all superstitions. Obviously, the context and how do we interpret, how do we implement can vary. But at a broad level, Nimitta Shastra is accepted because of, again, part of the forces of Prarabdha. Nimitta essentially tells us there are signs that we can see. Signs the body gives, signs the situation around gives of what could potentially happen. Once again, it is about what could potentially happen, not the way I respond to it. And in the good old days, those who were knowledgeable in Jyotisha Shastra used Nimitta Shastra effectively, used them in a way that could help them, complement. And therefore here Rama is talking, Nimittani cha dhanyani yani pradur bhavanti me nihatya ravanam sitam anayishyami janakim. I'm able to see the right kind of omens, right kind of nimitta which are becoming visible. Therefore, I know the time has come to bring back Sita. The time is opportune. Hey Hanuman, hey Sugriva, hey all the Vanaras, let's start. This is the opportune moment. Today, as Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, the ascent of Uttara Phalguni, we will march towards the deep to the shores, and then we will find out a way to cross the ocean. The journey towards the shores has begun. Let us continue to contemplate on this journey, which is going to precede the important decision that Rama is going to take in terms of how all the Vanaras are going to cross over. Until then, let's keep contemplating on Hanuman's wisdom and Rama's steady intellect that always guides everyone on the right path amidst all kinds of adversities. Jai Shri Ram.